Hello everyone. This theoretical lesson will revolve around verbal predicates and their syntactic and semantic characterization. In relation to these, the concepts of argument structure and thematic structure will be discussed. In this presentation, we will analyze the elements in a sentence and define the relations between a verbal predicate and arguments, introduce the concepts of argument structure and thematic structure, explore verb types and their semantic and syntactic classification, and describe different theta roles and associate them to predicate types. Verbs as predicates that select arguments. In any given sentence, like Isabella did yoga yesterday, we can identify different elements. The verb, in this case do, that describes the event or action of doing. This is the predicate. The participants, which are the entities minimally involved in the event, these are the arguments that the verb obligatorily selects. In this case, Isabella and yoga. Both are involved in the event of doing, which involves two entities or participants, Isabella, who is doing the action, and yoga, which is the action that is being done. The technical term to describe this is the following. Do is a two-place predicate. This means that it selects two arguments, the DP Isabella and the DP yoga. The DP Isabella is the external argument and the DP yoga is the internal argument. These two DPs are obligatory, so they cannot be omitted. If that is the case and any of the two arguments is missing, the sentence will not be grammatical. As shown in the examples here, if we just have Isabella did, the predicate's internal argument is not present and the sentence is ungrammatical. Much in the same way, if the predicate's external argument is not present, the sentence is also ungrammatical. However, if one chooses to omit yesterday, the sentence is still okay, because as you probably remember, yesterday is just an adjunct. So, as we have previously said, a predicate selects arguments, and its arguments need to be present in the sentence for it to be grammatical. In a sentence such as, she prepared pizza for dinner, the verb prepare is the predicate. It is a two-place predicate, and it selects two arguments. The DP she, its external argument, and the DP pizza, the predicate's internal argument. This information that you can see here receives the name of argument structure. And what is that? Well, a verb's argument structure contains the number of arguments it selects. So, the argument structure gives us information about the number of obligatory elements in a given sentence. Verbs behave differently considering their syntax. That is, the number of arguments they select. Later, we will see their names in detail, but as we will see, considering their number of arguments, verbs can be one-place predicates, as in she's sleeping, where the verb sleep selects one argument, the DP Isabella. Two-place predicates, as in she climbed the mountain, where the verb climb selects two arguments, the DP she and the DP the mountain. The DP she is the external argument and the DP the mountain is the verb's internal argument. Three-place predicates, such as she gave some coat to her dad, where the verb give selects three arguments. The DP she is the external argument and the QP some coke, which is one of the verb's internal arguments, and the PP to her dad, which is the other internal argument. In the previous slide, we have seen that syntactically, that is, considering the number of arguments, verbs belong to different types. Here, we will see the names they receive. Two-place predicates are transitive verbs, as shown in the sentence, she is drinking milk. One-place predicates are intransitive verbs. In here, as you can see, there are two examples. She's laughing and she arrived. In the slides that follow, we will see these two in detail. Three-place predicates, such as multiple complement predicates, in she placed Santa in the tree, and intransitive verbs, as in she sent a WhatsApp to her mother. Even though we will go into the differences inside one-place predicates and three-place predicates later, please do remember that the differences inside the members in these two are related to the verb's selection of type of arguments. So far, we have described verbs and their argument structure. And now it is time to deal with verbs and their thematic structure. To do so, let's observe the example, the tray prepared pizza for dinner. In here, we can see the predicate prepare, which is a transitive verb, and it selects two arguments, right? So far so good, because in this sentence we could say that the sentence matches the verb's argument structure, as there are two DPs present in the sentence, the tray and pizza. The number of arguments of obligatory elements is correct. But the sentence does not sound okay, right? In here, there appears to be a problem with the DP that is selected as external argument. The DP, the tray, is not compatible with the verb prepare. And why is that? It is because it is of the wrong semantic type. In here, what we need is a DP like she, the cook, or her mother, where some entity with volition, will, performs the action of preparing. This is so because the verb imposes restrictions on the type of arguments it selects. That is, not any entity can appear as an argument of a verb, only those that are semantically appropriate. This semantic aspect is contained in the thematic structure that contains information about the type of arguments the verb selects. So, for a sentence to be correct, both the argument structure and the thematic structure have to be correct. Arguments have a particular thematic or semantic relation with the verb. As a consequence, the verb assigns specific theta roles to the arguments it selects. In a sentence like, she prepared pizza, the predicate prepare is a transitive verb that selects two arguments. This is related to the verb and its argument structure. This one provides information about the number of arguments that the predicate selects. Now, information about the verb and its thematic relation with the arguments is contained in the thematic structure. The thematic structure provides the theta roles that are associated with the arguments with respect to a given predicate. In this case, the predicate prepare assigns the theta roles of agent and theme to its arguments. The theta role of agent to the predicate's external argument and the theta role of theme to the verb's internal argument. As you can see, theta roles are associated to particular argument positions. In this case, the theta role of agent is assigned to the external argument and the theta role of theme is assigned to the internal argument. We will see that all theta roles are typically associated to particular argumental positions. So, in general, external arguments will receive the theta roles of agents, experiences, or forces and causes. And internal arguments will receive the theta roles of theme, stimulus, or patient. As we will see in detail in the next 3 slides, it is important to differentiate different theta roles because these are semantic characteristics that define the relationship between argument and its predicate in a given event. Let's observe first the theta roles that are associated with external arguments in an event. These are the theta roles of agent, experiencer, and force or cause. In the sentence, the girl walked the dog, the DP, the girl, is the verb's external argument and it receives the theta role of agent because it is the performer or doer of the action and it has the features plus animate plus volition. So, if you still remember the sentence we discussed before, the tray prepared pizza for dinner, the problem in there is that the DP, the tray, could not receive the theta role of agent because it is not animate and it does not have volition to perform the task of preparing. In the case of the little girl loves eating ice cream, the DP, the little girl, is the living entity that perceives or experiences the event. So, it is associated to the feature plus animate, but there is no volition. The sentence, "The rain destroyed the city," has a cause or force as its external argument. As you can see, it cannot be an agent because there is no volition or animacy. And here, it is just a non-animate entity that initiates or brings about an action, but not consciously or voluntarily. Before dealing with the theta roles for internal arguments, it is worth seeing the difference between the agent and experiencer theta roles. Let's take the sentences, "He writes romantic novels" versus "He loves romantic novels." So, even though the DP, he, is the external argument in both, the thematic relation it establishes with both predicates is different. In "he writes romantic novels," the DP performs the action, so it is an agentive argument. It has the features plus animate and plus volition. However, in the case of the predicate love, that is not so. There is no action being done. In here, there is just a feeling, that of loving something. The entity is plus animate, but there is no volition. So, the main difference between the agent theta role and the experiencer theta role is that for a DP to receive the theta role of agent, the verb has to denote an activity, but for the verb to receive the theta role of experiencer, that is not so. It is not an action that someone does, but a feeling, an emotion or perception someone has, whether she wants to have it or not. This is so because even though there is animacy to have that particular feeling, emotion or perception, there is no will, no volition. So, while verbs that assign the agent theta role are action or activity verbs, verbs that assign the theta role of experiencer are verbs of emotional, psychological or physical perception. Activity verbs such as do in she's doing the homework, climb in she climbed a mountain last week, or build as in she built a house in 2 weeks, assign the theta role of agent to their external argument. But verbs of emotional, psychological or physical perception such as see, as in she saw beauty everywhere, read as in she read all her poems, and hate as in she hates spinach, do not assign the theta role of agent to their external argument, but the theta role of experiencer.